This is News 13 on Fox 2.
The winter weather hitting some parts of the state tonight. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 13 on Fox 2. I'm Jim Winchester. Closed interstates, stopped semis mile after mile for vehicles, all waiting for the weather to clear. But first, we begin with Sports Director Van Tate, who is also in San Jose tonight. And Van, tough loss for the boys. Well, Tiger Woods is back on the offensive after months of avoiding questions. Now, the call came out around 9:20 tonight. Our photographer just left the scene near the home in the 1600 block of Glorieta. Well, what a difference a day makes in New Mexico weather. Meteorologist Travis Christie here now with the full forecast. Travis. Yep. As we leave you tonight, a look at the sights and sounds of today's early morning snowfall in Valencia County, shot by our chief photographer, Carrie Olson. Have a great night, everyone.
From the KRQE News 13 Newsplex, this is News 13 on Fox 2.
The winter weather hitting some parts of the state tonight. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 13 on Fox 2. I'm Jim Winchester. Tim Maestas has the night off. Well, depending on where you are, get ready for a mix of snow and wind this week. Here's meteorologist Travis Christie with details.
Well, Jim, in just a bit.
Could be a busy week. Okay, thanks, Travis. Well, tonight's cold temperatures are only adding to the concerns of an Albuquerque woman whose brother went missing earlier today. 27-year-old Norman Lamb was last seen about 9:30 this morning. He walked outside his home in the 1300 block of Constitution near Tramway. Never came back. He's 6'1" with brown hair and brown eyes. Albuquerque police ask if you see him to please call 242-COPS. Law officers in the city and county of Santa Fe are looking for two men who tried to abduct schoolgirls in a separate instance this past week. Police say a 10-year-old girl was walking to school about 7:30 Friday morning when a man got out of a dark SUV at the intersection of Meadow and Airport and began following her. The man driving the dark SUV is described as having a dark complexion and a nose ring. He's about 5'7" with medium build. Well, in light of the recent attempted abductions, now may be a good time for young girls and women to learn how to fend off an attacker. Today, the New Mexico National Guard hosted a workshop to teach young girls and women to learn how to fend off an attacker. News 13's Caitlin McCarthy was there.
The big KRQE News 13.
And for a list of upcoming seminars, go to our website, casa.com, and click on news links. Well, an Albuquerque man and his buddy are jailed tonight, charged with stealing his grandmother's credit card, the same credit card she used a week ago to bail him out of jail. 37-year-old Nicola DiLorenzo and 23-year-old Pete Chavez were both in court today. Police say they hatched a scheme to get fast cash. Both face charges of possession of a stolen credit card and conspiracy to commit a felony. Well, Mexican officials say at least 12 people are dead after a drug war shootout in Monterrey, Mexico on Friday. State officials say the fight began when soldiers approached a ranch as part of a drug sting. The massacre unfolded. Police say altogether at least 11 were dead, and they were all gang members. 4 people are jailed in Russia tonight following a nightclub fire that killed 112 people. Now, this is amateur video from inside the club where the fire broke out Friday night in Perm, Russia. Authorities say a fireworks show inside a club started that fire. Hundreds tried escaping the burning building. Today, grieving family members lined up outside the morgue in Perm. They were there to identify their loved ones killed in that fire. An all-day memorial service was held at a local church. Well, Jewish settlers in the West Bank clashed with Israeli police today. The settlers sat in the middle of the road. The freeze shows the world that Israel is serious about pursuing a peace agreement with the Palestinians. Well, back here in the U.S., there's a lot of debate and controversy surrounding the president's deadline for troop withdrawal in Afghanistan. Fox News' Caroline Shively explains what it means.
Fox News.
Well, the final touches are put in place in Denmark's capital city ahead of this week's climate summit. The 192-nation talks are set to start in Copenhagen on Monday. President Obama will be in attendance to back the talks. On Capitol Hill today, the Senate continued to debate health care reform, but reaching consensus has eluded lawmakers. A full day of debate is scheduled for tomorrow. Well, the city of Espanola is getting into the holiday spirit, and that story is coming up next. And Albuquerque's Jewish community turned out in force today for a Hanukkah festival. Later, an extremely rare discovery in China, a baby panda turns up in the wild.
And another big
turnout today for Albuquerque's largest Jewish festival, which celebrates the upcoming season of Hanukkah. The Jewish Community Center of Greater Albuquerque held its annual Hanukkah festival this afternoon. They had everything ending this year at sunset on December 19th. Well, Travis Christie joins us now live, and some fun out there, but not too much fun if you're going to be outside in this coming week. You got to be careful out there.
Yeah, you know, it's going to feel and actually look a lot like Christmas with everything that's going to be happening this week. Of course, we're talking about a big storm. Seems like we have one right after the other. We get a couple of days of break mix.
And we're talking about feet in those northern mountains. That's something else.
Oh, yeah.
Great for skiers. They've been looking forward to that.
Oh, they're smiling ear to ear.
All right. Thanks much, Travis. Well, Attorney General Gary King will focus on meth awareness this week in Portales. A seminar scheduled for Tuesday targets parents, students, and school faculty on what to look for and online. Well, still ahead, remnants of the prehistoric creatures that once roamed the planet went on display this weekend. That's coming up. Also, a guy known in Australia as the Shark Whisperer is drawing fire for advocating the risky business. Those details coming up next. An extremely rare and sweet hidden treasure is found in China. Scientists there discovered a baby panda inside a cave at a national park. There are only about 100 pandas living in the wild. Those prehistoric animals are more your thing. Waco, Texas has something that you must see. The Waco Mammoth Site opened on Saturday. The remains of 25 other mammoths have been found. A man in Australia is trying to change the world's perception of sharks, but his critics say it's risky business. Take a look at the video. They call him the Shark Whisperer. They say he could encourage the public to try this kind of thing in their own, which would put their lives at risk. Well, there's a full half hour of news straight ahead on News 13 on Fox 2. There's a jump in housing starts in the metro area. Good news for home builders. And planning on a trip to the Sandias to cut a Christmas tree? If so, you may have to rethink that plan. There's a serious bug problem that's putting the kibosh on cutting. And some well-trained canines compete to be top dog. Those stories and more coming up next. Stay with us.
Good evening. News 13 has learned surprising new information about the deadly exchange of gunfire between Sandoval County Sheriff's deputies and fugitive murder suspect Joseph Burgess.
Burgess, known as the Cookie Bandit, had been hiding in the Jemez Mountains for years and burglarizing cabins. Early last Thursday, Sheriff Sergeant Joe Harris and Deputy Teresa Moriarty were on a mission to catch Burgess. Here's Jim Winchester with what we now know about what happened.
When the deputies arrived in the wooded area near La Cueva, they took their gear from their vehicle into the cabin where they were running the stakeout. News 13 has learned that for some unknown reason, Deputy Moriarty left her gun in the vehicle. Sergeant Harris had two weapons, so he gave her one. News 13 has learned it was a gun that Moriarty was not familiar with. Sometime later, as the deputies hid inside the cabin, Burgess came in through a window. Harris and Moriarty both identified themselves as officers and ordered Burgess to turn around. Burgess, now inside the cabin with his back to the deputies, didn't respond. And when he refused to turn around, there was a struggle. But
the two of them were able to take into custody and handcuff Burgess.
Burgess was now handcuffed, his arms behind his back. But somehow he was able to pull out a .357 revolver from underneath his clothing and began shooting wildly. Sergeant Harris made an attempt to stop Burgess, but the first shot from Burgess hit him in the hand. The second shot hit him in the groin, severing an artery. Now, News 13 has learned that as Sergeant Harris lay here mortally wounded, his partner, Deputy Moriarty, attempted to fire a weapon that she was not familiar with.
Burgess then started to fire at Moriarty, who attempted to return fire but wasn't able to work the gun, handed it back to Harris, and Harris then shot and killed Burgess.
Moriarty then ran to a neighboring cabin and asked residents to call for help because she didn't have cell phone service nor police radio coverage. News 13 has learned that supervisors at the Sandoval County Sheriff's Office did not know where the pair was. Now, when emergency crews finally reached Harris, they rushed him to the hospital where he died. Diane, back to you.
Okay.